Hey there, all you wonderful, happy people out there, and welcome to spring of 2018. Now, depending on where you're at in the country, the weather may shift in the unpredictable ways that it usually does, or sometimes it takes a different turn. But today was a pleasant day. Today was actually the end of a pretty good week, so yeah, it's going to be a good one. Okay. So you're probably wondering, what is this thing over here? It's not the 7700K build, I can tell you that. No, this is a different one. This is a different ammo altogether. Well, you may have seen parts of it in an earlier video. However, it's kind of morphed a bit and taken a little bit different turn, as it were. For some reason, whenever I go to Replay Electronics here in Billings with my friend Crash Override, I tend to get suckered into finding a really cool case just because I'm kind of like the artsy, crafty type of person, and I don't give too much thought to whether it's old or not, so sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I think this time it actually worked though. So I did a little research as far as to actually what case this is. And, well, as you can tell, well, I don't know if you can see it or not, but on the front it does have the Thermaltake logo. Which Thermaltake, I have never had a case by them before. But to see one that was kind of unique to me was kind of a pretty cool selling point. This actually is the Thermaltake Commander G41 case. I picked this up for about 35 bucks-ish. You can buy it new some places for about 80 to 90 bucks. So I figure for 30 to 35, I'm getting a pretty decent deal on this thing. So what this has, and this is the really cool part about this. When I bought the case, normally you have just this front panel here, which has your power reset switch. It's got your mic and headphone jack, plus it has two USB 3.0 ports on it. Well, my motherboard only has one USB 3 header on it, so when I saw that there was this second breakout box that was included, this is made by Rosewill, and what it is, it has four USB 2.0 ports and two USB 3.0 ports, plus it has card readers for like SD cards and such. So I figure that in addition to it is a pretty darn good deal. Plus the fact of everything else, this came with the two fans that were normally included stock. It has the one in the front, the one in the back, and then up on top, there's different mounting solutions on here. You can put two 120s, two 140s. You can put a 240 millimeter AIO up on top if you really want to. And the nice thing is that it's offset to where it's closer to the side panel, to where it doesn't really interfere with your RAM. But what somebody did was they put a Cooler Master 200 millimeter blue LED fan up on top. So I thought, deal. You know, that's a no-brainer. The side panel is in really good shape, in my opinion. It does not look like it's been scratched to heck. So what we did was we took the internal components from the sleeper build and put it into this case. And what had happened, it was kind of interesting. When we fired it up, it started to boot into Windows, and then it just kind of stuck. It's like, okay, what's going on here? So then we rebooted it again, and what happened is that it wouldn't even post. I mean, I'm sitting there doing the delete thing to get into the BIOS, and it wouldn't even go there. There was no Gigabyte logo, no nothing. It's like, what the heck is going on? So we started removing components, you know, like you do when you're troubleshooting a computer, to figure out what was causing it not to post. So we took out the GPU, we took off the SSD, we took off the hard drive, started getting down there, and then Crash came up with a really good idea. Why not put the original CPU that it came shipped with back into it and test it with that? So what we did was we took the 8320 out and put in the FX-4100, which we knew worked. Set it all back up, posted fine, went into Windows fine, no problems. Put the A320 back into it, back to no post. So by then we knew that the 8320 was pretty much dead. I mean, it was a hit or miss whether it was ever going to stably work anyway, because it did have some bent pins. So we were trying to do some CPU resuscitation. We thought we had gotten it to working, and it was running really weird when I was doing my first testing with it, because the fan was going up and down really erratically, and it did seem to do like it was supposed to do. But when we put the 4100 in it, everything runs fine. So it came down to that it was just a bad CPU. So, you know, when these CPUs were sent to me, they didn't cost me anything, so it was like nothing out of my pocket, so no risk involved. So, you know, the fact that 1 out of the 3 FX chips worked was, you know, amazing in and of itself. It's a good board, it's a good platform, but I think that I'm going to just have to, you know, get a different processor for it, which is fine. I'll probably end up putting like an 8350 in it, and maybe do a little bit bigger cooler, because right now it's running back on the stock, and running on stock settings, even the stock cooler runs fine. It's like 50s, 60s. It's no danger at all. I mean, it's a quad core processor. It's an older processor, so there you go. It does run the R9 280X just fine. I'm going to do some benchmarking with it and see what happens. I've loaded up a couple games so far. I also loaded up Valiant Heaven, and then GTA 5 and Just Cause 3, so I'm going to be testing those. Surprisingly, when we shifted everything around to this system, the SSD actually works fine. There's no problem. So I had a problem with it when it was in the horizontal case, but when we put it into this case, it may have been a loose connection or something. You know, just, you know, it may have been something simple. But the SSD works fine. It's a SATA 2 drive. It's, you know, it is what it is. I mean, it was loaned to me for free, so, you know, it's not like I had to go out and buy money, you know, pay money for this. In fact, out of this whole entire build, I think the only things that I actually put money into was the case, the power supply, and the hard drive, because everything else was donated to the effort, to my channel. So, and these came from Crash Override and from Highlander. So, big shout out to both of you guys. You guys are awesome and amazing. So, thank you so much for that. So, yeah, it's not the same performance as my main system, as my 700K, and I never intended it to be. It was never going to be that. But what I wanted was some, you know, different platforms to do different things with. See how far I can push them. I've been watching a number of tech channels since I started really getting into YouTube, and a lot of them have grown really big and really fast, and I wish them nothing but success. But truth of the matter is, I think I get more interaction with the smaller YouTube communities than I do with the bigger ones. I think there's just more of a community. Although everybody that's come here has been awesome, so I thank you guys all for coming in, and I'll still be watching all my favorite tubers out there, watching them on Twitch, watching them on YouTube. But I fully accept that I am never going to be them. I am not going to be the next big person. That, well, aside from being physically, but anyway. But I digress. But, you know, I'm probably never going to be those big people, because I'm not one of those people that's going to make it into a business, who's going to make it into a job. Because if you make something into a job, if you make it into some kind of serious business type thing, I think you kind of lose some of the fun out of it. I mean, it's good to be able to grow. It's great to be able to see your subscriber count grow. But I want it to be because people enjoy the content. If anything else comes of it beyond that, it's all icing on the cake. The main focus, the reason why I do this kind of stuff, is because I want to be able to have fun with you guys. I want to be able to just sit back and chill and, you know, just make fun videos. And they're not all going to be tech related. I am going to be doing other stuff. I just started doing this kind of stuff because I wanted to dink around with some other stuff and see how relevant it is with like current gaming or current things that I want to do. Yeah, I know I can probably watch 60, 100, 200 videos about the exact same thing, but watching somebody else do it, to me, isn't the same as actually getting in and doing it. because I've been kind of building PCs off and on since the early 2000s. I'm not, I've been around technology for pretty much all my life, but I've never really gotten into building it until I started in the early 2000s. So about the last decade and a half or so, it's, and believe you me, building computers nowadays is far easier than it used to be back in the beginning. It is way easier. So yeah, I mean, if it's something that you ever have thought about doing and don't have a whole lot of money, but you can pick up some parts on the cheap, sure, why not? Why not throw a system together? Just throw what you can at it, see if you can make it work, and just enjoy the experience. So that's what I'm doing with this one. This one I am dubbing the Aquarium. And there's a really good reason why I call it the Aquarium. This thing has such an intense blue light in it, because you not only have the light from the back, I believe. No, that one's not lit. But you have all the light coming from this 200 millimeter fan. Plus there's a fan, a downfiring fan from the power supply that's also blue. So if you turn the lights off at night, there's a lot of blue going on. In fact, I had to find a couple of blank spots because these two spots were actually open. If I would have left these open, it would have been a blue double spotlight coming out of the front of this thing. I mean, that's how intense the light was coming out of the front of this case. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But I love the fact that it has a really nice light to it, and it didn't really, it didn't cost all that much. So I'm really happy with it. So yeah, right now it has the FX-4100. It has 8 gigs of DDR3 at 1333. That's going to be changed out here eventually also. It's running an 80 gig SSD. It's a SATA 2 drive and a 1 terabyte mechanical drive, and the Radeon R9 280X. So that's what the bulk of the system is. So in the end, it's probably going to have, like I said, it's probably going to have an 8350 and 16 gigs of RAM and maybe a bit better SSD. But any kind of SSD is going to be better than a hard drive. So there's my 2 cents plus tax on it. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna try testing some different games on it. I'm gonna delve into my Steam library and see what all games I have and see which ones might be fun to try out. And then I'll be giving you guys benchmark results. I'll probably be doing some live gameplay footage along with the FPS results, and then we'll see where it goes from there. So, yeah, so that's about it for me today. I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you like this kind of content, go ahead and hit the like button. It's right down there. If you haven't already and you want to see more random content from yours truly, go and smack that subscribe button right over there. Until next time, guys and girls, live life a little randomly, and we will catch you guys in the next video.